Hi, we're here at the Canal Park Playhouse with Avner the Eccentric as he begins his 1 month run this March through March. And his show is called
Exceptions to Gravity.
And the definition of that, the reason why that title of the show is?
Well, it's a little bit of a wordplay because the gravity of the situation, and also because there's so much balancing, juggling. So, I try to find things that have a sort of an odd way of balancing that you wouldn't expect. So, for example, the 6 foot tall stack of paper cups has this huge arc to it. It doesn't look like it should stay up, and it barely does. But so there.
And the you've been performing for quite a long time. I mean, I remember seeing your show back at the first New York Clown Theater Festival, and since then you've been performing all over the world, obviously in very large arenas and very intimate small theaters like this one. And which do you prefer?
You know, I had so much fun tonight. If I could do this all the time, I might be seduced into it. There's something really magical about having that kind of contact with the audience. Now, it's funny, I was outside, someone asked me about the hat juggling routine. She said, well, what happens if the people don't clap? Now, interesting thing, and this is one of the great paradoxes of comedy, is you have to get laughs. But if you try to get them, you can't. And I was in a variety show in Germany with another comic act, and it was the night that nobody laughed. It's almost like they took a vote and decided not to laugh. We were at dinner afterwards, and he said, Avner, that was so frustrating. I said, no, it was fine. He said, what do you do when they don't laugh? And I said, oh, and I had one of those, for me, a great insight. I said, thank God, I've got enough problems out there without people laughing at me. So once you make that adjustment, it doesn't matter if they laugh or they don't laugh. So, for example, in the hat routine, I do a hat trick. People clap and laugh. And I go, oh, you'd rather see that than okay, fine, I'll do one more. But it gets really interesting when they don't laugh or clap, and you can look at them to say, oh, that wasn't funny. Well, watch this. Oh, you didn't like that. Well, watch this. And either way it builds, and because you're validating whatever they did, it's almost like validation therapy. I think it lets them relax and then ultimately laugh.
Great. What else? Lost for words.
Well, don't stop.
roll.
You know, funny thing, you were talking about the Clown Theater Festival, which was in
June of '83.
83.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had really gotten discouraged at trying to be a quote unquote clown working in theater in America. I mean, it really is a 4-letter word. And it was just so hard. And I had huge success in Switzerland. I had a little tour in Switzerland. And I was actually on my way to Europe. And I heard about the festival and stopped in New York and played in that little theater, which was about 80 seats in the Garment. It wasn't even a theater. It was a jewelry dealer who had a shop. So what a place. And Mel Gussow had come to Chicago to see the Flying Karamazov Brothers because they were coming to Broadway that year. And he gave me a wonderful review in their review of Comedy of Errors, which we were doing at the Goodman. So at the festival, they said, do you know anybody in the press? I said, well, Mel Gussow likes me. And sure enough, they called him, and of all the shows in the festival, he came to see it. He wrote me an absolute love letter of a review. And the next day, I had to hire a lawyer to deal with the producers who wanted to bring the show off Broadway. So I never did get back to Europe then. And that was really the thing that launched my career. A year later, in '84 and '85, I played on and off Broadway, and then went on to do Jewel of the Nile, and then came back, and I haven't stopped since.
That's great. That's wonderful. What a great story.
Yeah.
And obviously you're happy with what's happened.
Oh yeah.
You're still performing, which is wonderful.
Yeah, I love it. It's,
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's such a pleasure to see you.
Likewise. Very nice.